Um,
Okay, sorry.
Hi everybody and welcome to Rude English. In today's video I'm going to be interviewing my friend Marie, who's going to tell us all about her experience learning English and her advice for other students. I hope you enjoy it.
Firstly, let me say thanks for having me. I'm Mari. Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
I'm in Vancouver, Canada at the moment doing working holiday, but I'm originally from Japan. So English is my second language, same as most of you guys watching this channel. I work as a living nanny for a Canadian family in Canada. And I met Ed when I arrived in London back in 2018.
So let's talk about your experience learning English. Where did you first start learning?
Okay, so I first started learning English back in junior high school in Japan. So I was at age of 12, but they mostly focused on teaching grammars and readings. My grade back in school was good, but to be honest, it didn't really help me improve my speaking or writing skills much. I would say same as other countries like Spain, based on what I heard from my friends. Learning English at school was not the biggest contribution, unfortunately.
So what did you do after that, or where did you improve your English?
Yes, so many years after I graduated from high school, I decided to study English again in the Philippines.
Wow.
And that was back in 2016.
Yeah. And how was that? Did you enjoy
Well,
it?
yeah, at the beginning, my level was lower intermediate, and it was overwhelming because I didn't understand much of what the teacher said. But after 4 months of studying intensively, my level went up to upper intermediate, and which was about 5.5 overall in IELTS.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
good.
would say, yeah, thank you. I would say it wasn't really easy. You have to put yourself out there every day, and you can't help but comparing yourself with other students who are better at English.
And so after your experience in the Philippines, how was your English? Could you have a conversation with someone in English?
You mean back when I was in the Philippines?
Yeah, after you finished your school in the Philippines, were
Yes.
you confident with English?
Well, so my story continues. After studying for about 4 months in the Philippines, after maybe less than a month after, I went to Australia for working
Wow.
holiday. Yes.
Yeah.
So that was a time to see how well I did or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because in the school, of course, you are protected and the teachers understand what you say no matter what.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was in Australia and didn't understand much of the accent, to be honest.
Yeah. But you survived. Was it easy or was it very difficult at the beginning?
At the beginning, I would say it was difficult to adjust myself in a new environment and making friends and starting over everything. But definitely, those 4 months experience in the Philippines helped me. Otherwise, I felt I was a baby and I don't think I'd be able to order anything at a cafe.
When you were in Australia, how long or how quickly did your English improve? Did you notice a really quick improvement after a couple of months or half a year?
I would say towards the end of my stay, after a year, whenever I talked to myself in my head, it was in English, which was something.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to say how much you improved without taking any exams. So that was back in 2017, by the end of my working holiday in Australia. And after that, I went to the UK and took IELTS exam for the second time, which was 2019. So to answer to your question, how much I improved, I got 7.0 overall.
Yeah, well done. That's good.
Thank you. So I can't say like how much I improved the time in Australia and the time in the UK, but I would say it took me about 3 years to become fluent in English.
So yeah, after Australia, the rest is history, I guess. You went to the UK and New Zealand, and now you're in
Yeah.
Canada.
Yeah.
But tell me, is there anything in particular you find difficult about English, or maybe something difficult about the learning experience?
Well, when I look back my experiences, the Philippines was something I need to talk about. So as I said, those 4 months felt really long. I had to have faith in myself that if I do something every day, it will add up in the future. And then I can be a better version of myself with English. But it's not really easy in the beginning. That's because I guess anything, not necessarily just English, but you need to have vocabularies and expression and everything in order to be able to produce sentences by yourself.
Yeah.
So that process was not easy to be patient. Yeah, but apart from that, I would say actually I enjoyed learning English in general. So there was not much difficulties I came across in particular.
Yeah.
But I would say pronunciation can be tricky. As I said, my experience with Australians.
Yeah.
Especially for Japanese people, because we don't have specific sounds such as R and V and so on.
Yeah. Is there anything else?
Yeah, also in my opinion, it's not necessarily something I struggle, but the way how it worked in the school. I felt that as a student, the classroom at school in Japan was not really a safe place to practice speaking.
Yeah.
We were taught vocabs and grammars based on the textbooks we use, and not much speaking practice opportunities. Because of this, many students became pretty aware of themselves when they made mistakes.
Yeah.
And we were discouraged not to speak English in front of others, which can get in the way.
So how has learning English benefited you?
So it definitely helped me travel, communicate, and immerse myself with different experiences, working holiday in particular. I've been fortunate enough to do working holiday, as Ed mentioned, in Australia and the UK, New Zealand, and Canada for the last 4 years. Having been able to speak English played a big part of it when it comes to living in a new place and making friends. Also, you can gain different perspective in life from other people, because if you go to different country, they live differently, and not everyone works crazy as Japanese.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to bring up with this question was that I also felt that I'm able to express myself without thinking too much when I speak English. This is not because like I'm fluent in English more than Japanese, because obviously Japanese is my mother tongue, but as in I don't have to use a different politeness of Japanese depending on the person I talk to. That's what I meant.
Okay, so last question. Do you have any advice for Japanese students who are learning English?
Well, to be honest, I'm not sure if I'm entitled to give advice to Japanese students because I'm still learning English. But one thing I could say is that English is just a way of communication. So the most important thing is to make someone you speak to understand what you are trying to say, and vice versa. This means that you don't have to be perfection. Another thing I wanted to point out is that having accent is not a bad thing. It's funny because my accent consists of a bit of everywhere I have been. So people ask me where I'm from, which is funny, but I still do have Japanese accent. As you might have noticed by now, I still can't say R very well, which I don't worry too much, to be honest. Because you understand what I say, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So also, we speak different languages as a mother tongue, so it's completely natural to have accent.
So you also have your own YouTube channel where I think you talk about some of your experiences on your working holidays and your experiences learning English as well.
Yes,
Do you want to tell us a bit more or introduce your channel?
sure. So I have a YouTube channel which I started when I was in New Zealand, 2020. It's called Mari the World because I had been traveling, where I shared my daily life, like Ed said, and I interviewed my friends, including Ed, which I'm editing at the moment, and tips of learning English, and so on. Although most of them were made in Japanese, so I'm not sure if that's something you're interested in, unless you understand Japanese. But yeah, there are a few videos I made in English as well, so I hope you watch my video at some point.
So thank you for agreeing to do this interview and telling us about your experiences.
That was my pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
I really enjoyed listening to Marie's experiences, and she made some really interesting points, especially about how you need to have determination and faith to learn English. For most people, it takes several years to reach a high level of English, and it can be difficult to stay motivated for such a long time. The best way to stay motivated is to do activities that you enjoy, such as listening to music, reading books, or watching series in English, or going to language exchanges and traveling and meeting other people who speak English. Our brains also remember things better when we're in a good mood, so you'll stay motivated for longer and you'll learn things more quickly if you do activities that you enjoy. Marie also mentioned that some people can be afraid to make mistakes, especially in an intimidating classroom environment. This can be a big problem because making mistakes is an essential part of the learning process, and it helps to develop confidence, fluency, and conversational competence. Put simply, it can be difficult to understand people who are too afraid to speak because they pause and hesitate a lot. So don't be afraid to make mistakes because ultimately it will make you a better speaker. Another thing Marie found difficult when learning English is pronunciation. The best way to improve pronunciation is through targeted practice. This means identifying specific sounds that you find difficult and doing exercises every day to practice them before incorporating them into your speech. Remember that accents are normal and not even native speakers speak with perfect pronunciation. I've made lots of videos about pronunciation to help you with this, and I'll put a link to my pronunciation playlist in the description below. Well, that's the end of the video. Thanks very much for watching. I've put a link to Marie's YouTube channel in the description below if you want to find out more about her and her experiences learning English and working abroad. Please let me know if you want more interviews like this by giving me a thumbs up and subscribing and leaving some comments below. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.